Welcome back. When I was re-watching and reviewing the videos that I've recorded before, I found it very, very helpful for me to actually talk about my own experience. Not because I believe like this is necessarily for me the case that I need to kind of show off, but it's more like an example what's really truly tangible. Most of the time when you listen to a teacher of some kind, they come up with like a generic example, you are easy to discard that because it doesn't apply to yourself, because it doesn't have this real life depth. And by me talking about like real life depth experience, I believe you can take a lot from that. So let's start. My example of following this inner guidance, macro and micro decisions, I want to distinguish that. We said in order to learn, to practice our intuition, we got to start with like the small decisions. But I've gone, after I've started that, to doing like more macro decisions on my life, and I want to talk about a few of these. My general life path, I follow my intuition all the time. Whenever I receive an intuitive impulse, I make the most effort to sit down and look at that and to let myself be pulled into the direction of this attraction. And if I don't, which happens also often, if I don't make it, I'm fearful or something like that, that's okay. Then I've learned something more to look at. But generally it's like my most important decision to follow my heart all the way and all the time. Not from a perfectionistic kind of place that I must do that. Even if I don't, that's fine too, but that's like my highest priority. And yeah, for example, when I was meeting Maxim, this was my first mentor, and I used to study in university back then, and I was listening to his podcast, and this was this kind of podcast where you have a lot of interviews with different people, and this one person, he stood out because he said there, I'm reading about 1 or 2 books a day. I teach those speed reading classes, and he was talking all about like life and spirituality and all those things. And I thought like, wow, I want to meet this person. So I said, it's got to be, I've got to go to one of his seminars. So I did, and after that it was clear. I've got to quit my studies and work for this guy. So I made the effort and pitched him, and I worked for him, not for a long time because we then split apart, because I learned something on the way. But anyway, this is following your heart. Also going to Peru, I was at a kind of cacao ceremony here in Berlin, Germany, and which is basically a fancy word for you drink the sacred plant of cacao that was used in during the Inca times, and it's from South America, and you mix it, the raw cacao, and then you drink it, and it has like a very subtle effect on your psyche. And it just brings you more in touch with your intuition, but it's like very subtle. It doesn't throw you out. It's not an acid trip or something like that. It's just cacao. In the same way as chocolate, if you eat a lot of that, makes you subtly happy, because of those hormones that I just don't recall the name for. In the same way, cacao kind of opens up your mind and your heart. So, and I was having these visions. This was just a singular image of the Amazon River, but in a clarity, it was like clear 4K picture, but it was clear that this is an important message. So I made up my mind and I said, well, I gotta go to the Amazon. What else would I do? This feels right now, and it shifted in this moment. And at this point I made the decision to go to the Amazon. And first of all, I thought I would go to Peru, to Brazil, but then I ended up in Peru, in the Amazon region there. So this is also what I mean by following my heart. Whew. Anyway, and the micro decisions in exercise and food. When I go to the gym, when I do my exercises here at home, lifting some weights, doing some push-ups, I just do it when it feels right, when my body wants to move. Go for like a little walk. Don't need to go for a run for like hours. Just go for like 10-15 minutes. Or go for a swim in a natural lake, in a natural habitat. I quite like that. When it feels right, I kind of feel that out. Sometimes I don't go to the gym for like a week. But sometimes I just go to the gym every day for like a period of time, you feel it out. Because there's nothing to gain, you should exercise for the sake of fun, for the sake of exercising. And the same way with like food. I catch myself when I really crave like comfort food, like sweets or something like that. And I realize food is not there to make me happy, it's there to give me sustenance and nurture my body. So I feel it out, at what time of the day to eat and what quantities and what things. If I look at the fridge, and what does my body want right now? As corny as it sounds, but it is better to eat like an avocado today, Or is it better to eat like tomatoes or like, you know, a bit of quinoa or potatoes or rather rice or lentils? What does my body, what do I feel like? What feels right? That's what I try to figure out. You know, also when I work, you know, when I do my creative work, I design those slides, you know, I record those videos, I cut those videos, and I write down advertisement and all those things that you need to do when you want to publish your mission, like online as well, not just offline giving speeches, but also online. You need to think about a million things. And when do you do that? When it's time to write, when it's time to rest, when it's time to record videos, in the morning, in the evening, when it's like the right time. And in that way, I'm kind of in this flow state where the things actually just go easy. And sometimes I just work on my slides for like 15 minutes, but I get so much done. And at some other points where I didn't follow my heart, I was sitting there for like 2 hours and don't get anything right, and then you kind of throw the whole thing out because it's no good, and you get lost in like details, and it's just a crap. So sometimes 15 minutes is enough for that. 15 minutes, high intensity work, and then 80% of your work is done. Then you let it rest for 2 days, kind of review, do the rest of the 20 minutes in another half an hour, for example, and then you have 45 minutes, an entire module. You know, this is the way I kind of work right now, and it works good. And you find the applications for yourself as well. But I find it important to tap into somebody's life experience, and not to kind of put those people like on a pedestal, not for me to kind of show off, you know, look what, you know, I know it, you don't. It's not the point. It's just, if I had somebody else who I could tap into the same kind of emotional depth of experience, I would use his or her examples, but the reason is I can only use my own examples as of now, because they are the most emotionally rich, and I just know them best. You see how they apply with this general theme of following your heart. So anyway, with this being said, let us jump into the next and the last video of this course, this module. Excuse me, please.